Right, let's now cross over to our reporter monitoring developments outside the home of the former president. Simphiwe Nkandla is outside for us. Simphiwe, very good afternoon to you. Last I spoke to Ayanda yesterday, it seemed as though the supporters of the president were the former president was sort of slowly trickling into Nkandla, descending onto Nkandla. I'm assuming that momentum has gathered now, that there's quite a crowd outside his residence there in Nkandla. I'm just seeing quite a few people there just outside where you are from the camera footage there. Just tell us what's happening outside Nkandla at the moment. And on the back of that, Simphiwe, if you can just help me out in terms of clarifications about the whereabouts actually of the former president. There's been sort of mixed messages around where he is in the first place. We'd heard that he's arriving from Johannesburg, and then some had said he's already in Nkandla anyway. So we'd really just like to seek some clarity really on that.
Well, certainly, Flo, a short while ago, there was quite a large group of former President Jacob Zuma supporters who had gathered outside his home. I'm just going to move out of the short flow to give you an indication of what is currently happening now. That group has since dispersed, but there's quite a few now of people who are still, waiting outside the home of the former president. And one of those, I'm just going to ask my colleague Ndabezinhle Khumalo to zoom closer to a gentleman who's wearing a hat, a black t-shirt as well as a black jean, and his name is Edward Zuma, former President Jacob Zuma's son, who has been very vocal, Flo, since the news of the Concord came that the former president will be expected to hand himself over to the law enforcement authorities to begin his 15-month sentence. But Flo, coming back to your question in terms of his whereabouts, we do understand, according to our sources, that he is in the province of KwaZulu-Natal, but what we can say for certain is that he's not in his home as we speak. But let's continue this conversation and speak to Mr. Nkandla, who was leading a group of ANC supporters who had converged earlier on here today. Mr. Nkandla, thank you very much for your patience, sir. Let's look at you as ANC supporters and members coming out here today. What message are you sending?
Thank you very much, Makany, and greetings to all the viewers at home. We are here from various regions within KZN, but more in particular I'm from eThekwini, and the reason eThekwini region is here is because President Jacob Zuma is a member of ANC in eThekwini region, as much as he's based here in Nkandla because that's his home, but his membership is in eThekwini. And various other members of his family, of course. Now, we don't believe that he should be sent to jail because of one Mr. Zondo, because that is the true story here. He's being sent to jail because of Judge Zondo, who refused to recuse himself. And that is a fact. President Zuma went to the commission and he said to Mr. Zondo, you must recuse yourself, and then I will testify before this commission. But if you are sitting there, I'm not going to testify. And Zondo used the powers that are vested in him by virtue of being the Deputy Chief Justice in this country, and he went to the court that he works at, and he basically coerced the other judges to say, you know what, give a judgment that is going to favor me, because he is basically their boss, because he's the next in line after Justice Mukhweng. Now he went and he said to them, force this man to come and testify before me. Whereas President Zuma had said, if you put someone else, I will testify. Now, the court didn't apply that. In fact, the court disregarded the fact that President Zuma had gone to another court and said, no, I want the court to compel this man to move from that position so that I can present my evidence before the commission, because I also want to assist the commission.
All right. Mr. Nkandla, this is where we are now. Yes. The Concord has made its ruling. Yes. There are no questions about it. There's no other court where the former president can appeal this decision. Yes. What then are you saying about the fact that he has to hand himself over to law enforcement authorities within 5 days?
No, he must not. This is not justice. This is nonsense. There is no justice like this anywhere in the world where a person's rights are stripped away by virtue of the position which he has previously held. Besides that, you can't be sending a 79-year-old man to jail during this time of COVID. We just entered third wave now. Our prisons are overflowing. Our prisons are overpopulated, and that's a fact. You can ask anyone. Even if you take him here to Eshowe, one of the very good prisons, still is going to an overpopulated prison. But besides that, his medical condition doesn't allow.
In a nutshell, you are encouraging the former president to break the law and not abide by the constitution of this country.
Well, the constitution of this country has turned out to not be such a good constitution as it is praised all over. Our laws are biased to some. They work for some, for others they don't. He approached a court of law because he thought the law was going to work for him, and it turns out the law doesn't help him. So now there's no use in him applying the law or abiding by the law. He shouldn't go there.
But some would say the former president was afforded an opportunity to make representations at the Constitutional Court about those very complaints that you are talking about, but he opted not to.
Well, I don't think he should have done that. I think that the decision for him to not go there was correct. In fact, you should ask yourself this question. If Judge Zondo was acting in good faith, why didn't he go to a lower court to ask the court to compel him to go to the commission? Because nowhere in the Commissions Act it says you must approach the highest court in the land to compel a witness to come and testify before a commission. So he should have approached a lower court, and the matter would then have been appealed. But he went to a court, which is the last court, the last resort. Now he knew, because that's why he has power. I mean, if you come into my house, that's where my strength is. So I'm going to defeat you. So this case was long written, and if you read that judgment is nothing but a political statement. You know, it's not a legal sound argument, it's a political statement.
As members of the ANC who have been saying that you will continue to support the former president, what is going to be your stance when he doesn't present himself to law enforcement authorities and he has to be arrested?
Oh, we'll be very happy if he refuses, because we don't think it is wise for him to go there. We don't see him making it out of that jail alive. And I want to say this on record. I'm sure if President Zuma is arrested tomorrow or any other day and he goes to jail, he will not make it out alive from that jail. They poisoned him here in Nkandla, here in his house. Where he has bodyguards and he has everything. Imagine in prison. He'll come out dead. So we don't think he should be going to jail, and we are going to try and convince him not to.
Finally, before I let you go, Mr. Khuzwayo, the issue of the shutdown that has been spoken about on social media, is that going to be taking place in the province of KwaZulu-Natal? What is your stance?
Well, I've heard that various provinces are intending to shut down because of this particular decision, because our laws are seeming to be failing us, in particular our constitution. And I was talking to some comrades from another province this morning saying, you know, it's funny, the people of Swaziland are asking for what we have here, but we are complaining about what we have here. So it's a nightmare. Our constitutional democracy has turned out to be a nightmare to us because it doesn't help us.
Mr. Khuzwayo, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
That's Mr. Nkandla Khuzwayo. He speaks on behalf of ANC supporters who had come here outside President Jacob Zuma's home to show their support to the former president. Flo, it's over to you in Johannesburg for now.
All right. Simpiwe, just in closing, before I let you go, you know, it does seem that there is some sort of violence that is anticipated. And, you know, one wonders, you know, what the government of KZN is prepared for. What do you know at this stage about law enforcement? Because, you know, the former president has been given until Sunday to hand himself over. If that doesn't happen, I understand that the police themselves will arrive there at Inkandla to arrest him, and one then wonders if violence does break out, and we've certainly heard people saying, look, we're prepared to lay down our lives. We heard his son saying that, in fact, on camera, and we've seen that even on social media. And I just wonder if the government of KZN is indeed prepared for any eventualities, Simpiwe.
Well, a few days ago, Flo, the Premier of KwaZulu-Natal, Mr. Sihle Zikalala, during his media briefing said that the province of KwaZulu-Natal will not be tolerating any form of illegal gatherings. But where we are, Flo, we spotted quite a few, one or two police vehicles which were basically passing by, patrolling the area. But in terms of any arrest or anything to that effect, nothing happened, even though, of course, we were able to see the number of people who had gathered outside the home of the former President Flo.
All right, Simpiwe, thank you very much. Let's catch up with you later on. That's Simpiwe Makhanya there for us in KZN, just outside the former president's